There was a time when the Santa Monica Mountains had a balanced ecological system. The mountains served us well. They shaped the flow of Los Angeles development. They gave us a refuge of pristine beauty, trees, valleys, streams, in the midst of urban development. The legacy of the mountains was for all of us, for our children and our children's children. The mountains were as God made them. But man had other ideas for the mountains. He reached out, slowly at first, tentatively. And where he touched, he sometimes built well. But as the speed of life increased, he reached out faster and farther in an urgent desire to tame, build, and ultimately destroy the natural ecological system of the mountains. Our natural resources are finite. Those who seek to build here take on the stewardship of these mountains. And if they fail in their responsibility, they will despoil the mountains completely, forever. It has been said that the mayor of Los Angeles received a letter from a child. Please, he said, don't let them tear down the mountains. God isn't making any more. If you could fly above these mountains, you would see a new perspective of what man has done. You would see our pockmarked hills, the scarred landscape, the ugliness that is a direct result of poorly planned development. Costly, senseless defilement has been permitted in the name of progress. Faster, faster, man seeks to claim his share of our mountains. Modern ruins, deserted pads, unfinished construction, concrete slopes, homes without yards, garbage dumps, denuded hills, cropped ridges, benched hillsides, leveled mountains, ruined watershed, congestion. To stop now, to think and plan for the appropriate use of the Santa Monica Mountains and adjacent coastal areas will assure their preservation for future generations. The time for wise planning is now. 7 local governing bodies lie within the Santa Monica Mountains. Lack of coordination has created a pattern of development at cross purposes, destructive not only to the mountains, but to the adjacent flatland areas. And in the end, it is the taxpayer who pays. For this reason, many states faced with similar problems are turning to regional planning. In some places, it is already too late to undo the effects of haphazard development. Grandiose plans for spectacular development are presented by owners of large parcels of land. They arrange for zoning changes, grade the land, and sell it to builders at substantial gain. The builder is then left to cope with the complexity of city codes and financial commitments that often end in his economic ruin. After many years, Mount Olympus lies unfinished. Beverly Ridge is still a moonscape crater. In the midst of our mountains, the Church of Perfect Liberty lies barren and unfinished, a casualty of the withdrawal of foreign capital committed to its completion. Already devastated by man, this scarred bowl is left to face further damage from flood and erosion. And in the end, all Californians bear the ecological and financial burden of correcting the resulting drainage problems. Forethought and planning, man could live in harmony with nature. But insensitive building and disregard for the environment will leave a permanent monument of ugliness for future generations. In so-called planned communities, only minimal open space is provided. Lacking space for play, our children are forced into the streets. Unwittingly, man brings to the mountains the ugliness of urban sprawl he was seeking to escape. The Rape of Mission Canyon is a picture of glamorous words, Elysian promises, and a reality of devastated, bulldozed hills and canyons. The same fate threatens Rustic and Sullivan canyons, which are still untouched. In ever-increasing volume, garbage trucks spew out man's waste into the mountains that surround existing homes and schools, threatening the well-being of residents and school children. Noise levels 20 decibels above health safety norms affect their lives and education. Underneath this deceptive green surface, once planned for recreational use, lies 10-year-old decomposing garbage. Unusable for recreation, this area still shifts and subsides, producing hazardous, flammable methane gas. Since decomposition in landfill has been known to continue for 50 to 100 years, these landfill sites may remain unusable through 5 generations. Plans go forward to increase the use of our mountains for garbage disposal, despite knowledge that methane gas is a source of energy. Pyrolysis is one new method of energy-producing refuse disposal. Recycling and reclamation are other economical alternatives. The expanded use of Mission Canyon for dumping of sewage sludge, infectious hospital waste, caustic acids, and flammable liquids increases the dangers to homeowners and school children already coping with airborne bacteria, dust, and noise. Decomposing garbage creates a breeding place for disease-bearing rats, flies, and mosquitoes. Water filtered through decomposing garbage produces a liquid called leachate. This acidic and bacteria-bearing liquid pollutes the groundwater and kills the natural vegetation. These unsolved problems of landfill operations are the legacy we leave to future generations. You can't put a dollar sign on the price our children will pay, but in cold, hard cash, the cost to taxpayers now to undo the havoc of short-sighted development is billions of dollars. Dense overbuilding affects traffic congestion, open space, water and air shed, and flood control. It just doesn't make sound financial sense. Slowly, the natural protective urban green belt of the mountains is being destroyed. Building in the mountains reduces the natural vegetation, which provides a clean air shed to dilute the polluted air of the Los Angeles basin and neighboring communities. The prevailing pattern of ocean air movement over the mountains has a cleansing action. Morning breezes bring clean air that hung over the ocean at night into the Los Angeles basin and the San Fernando Valley. As this air moves over the mountains, mountain vegetation reduces the amount of pollutants. Where natural greenery is replaced by buildings, roads, and increased traffic, the salutary natural effects of air shed and air cycle are diminished, adversely affecting the greater Los Angeles area. Once our mountains were a natural watershed. Running water carved debris from these ancient sedimentary rocks, ground this debris into sand, and carried it through the canyons to our beaches, replacing the sand carried away by wave action. Now, useless, this eroded coarse rock collects in man-made debris basins from which it must be removed and disposed of. The eroding beaches then have to be rebuilt with trucked-in sand. And again, it is the taxpayer who bears the cost of man's interference with nature's cycle. New subdivisions constructed above older ones create flood control problems. When natural streams can't absorb the increased runoff, all taxpayers pay to build costly flood control channels, just as they pay for the upkeep of roads that absorb increased traffic from new developments. Adequate fire safety, brush clearance, and police protection for these remote hill areas are additional tax burdens. The cost of insurance rises, The need to hold the line on government spending decreases the fire and police personnel available to protect these problem areas. Many local governments are still committed to the idea that growth is good. They have failed to keep abreast of the growing body of knowledge that growth must be tempered by the protection of natural resources. Lack of regional planning results in damage miles from the original construction site. Inland, where Ventura and Los Angeles counties meet at Westlake Village, Triunfo Creek was dammed, disturbing the natural flow of water into Malibu Lake and Malibu Creek. The result is dangerous levels of siltation in Malibu Lake, death to the biota, and constant expense for the removal of the silt. Man now has the technological ability to bulldoze through mountains instead of following natural topography. This invites such proposals as the widening of Malibu Canyon Road. This in turn will destroy the Malibu Creek bed, the only drainage system that cuts through the axis of the mountains, which, finally, will destroy Malibu Lagoon, one of the few remaining natural estuaries in Southern California. Differing zoning requirements in adjacent areas defeat the best attempts at long-range local planning. High-density zoning in Ventura County ruins the rural beauty of the Los Angeles County portion of Westlake Village. The adoption of incompatible plans for the Los Angeles City and county portions of Mulholland Scenic Drive could affect either portion adversely. Overdevelopment on the coastal side of the mountains affects the drainage system, and in areas where city meets county, or where Ventura and Los Angeles counties meet, proposed developments will create drainage, sewage, and traffic density problems for the neighboring communities. For many years, Tapia Park, a county regional recreation area, existed in the middle of the mountains. Then Las Virgenes built a superb sewage treatment plant, a model of its type, next to Tapia Park. In the summer, the stench from the sewage treatment plant inhibits the use of this county park during the season when it is most needed. Planning departments are inundated with proposals for construction of new trailer park sites throughout the mountains. These trailer parks require the clearing of many acres of land. Sherwood Forest is one of the few remaining coastal oak woodlands in Los Angeles County. A trailer park now planned for this site will inevitably destroy this rare oak woodland. All California taxpayers are affected by the lack of comprehensive planning for mountain development and conservation. The state recently purchased the Century Ranch and part of the Hope acreage for state parkland. This recreational area lies west of Las Virgenes Road and Mulholland Highway. Los Angeles County zoned the east side for high-density condominiums and a shopping center adjacent to Thomas Aquinas College. State officials unequivocally state that had they been aware of the county plans, they would never have acquired this area for parkland. In essence, the great need is for regional planning to bring to mountain development an orderly, economically sound, ecologically protective plan that will end the profitless rape of the Santa Monica Mountains. It is not too late to save our mountains. With forethought and comprehensive planning, the mountains can be developed and still benefit all Californians. These mountains are our heritage. Please, stop, think, plan, then build for our children's future. Please don't let them tear down the mountains. God isn't making any more.